Blessed be everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're talking about Sabbats, well, two of them in particular, Imbolc and Lughnasadh. But before we do, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, author of Crafting a Wiccan Path and Tapping into Abundance. And if you want to know more about Wicca and witchcraft, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. And if you want to explore more of the inner work with the chakras and mixing shadow work with chakra work so that you can feel more confident, more self-love, and bring more meaning and purpose into your life, have a look at my free masterclass, How to Heal Your Shadow Through Balancing Your Energy Centers. The link is in the description field below this video. Today, I wanted to start talking about the Sabbats because I haven't done a lot of videos on the Sabbats. And just recently, at the time of this video, we celebrated some Sabbats. So down here in the Southern Hemisphere, I celebrated Imbolc, and in the Northern Hemisphere, you would have celebrated Lughnasadh. And depending on where you are in the world or in those hemispheres, you're going to have different experiences of those Sabbats as well. So I wanted to talk about the Sabbats in more than just about the traditional aspects of them. You can get that information all over the place on YouTube, but more about how you can use them in your own inner work. So we'll start with Imbolc and I'll do Lughnasadh second. So Imbolc is for the Southern Hemisphere people. It's just recently passed. It's roughly around the 1st and 2nd of August, or if you are being more traditional to the way the Celts would have celebrated it, it would have been at the full moon in August. For those who were celebrating Lughnasadh, it is the same time on the 1st and 2nd of August in the Northern Hemisphere, or the full moon. Imbolc is all about the light. It's about the light coming back. So if you live in a cold, cold climate, especially where you get snow, then the light coming back is going to be quite significant. You may see the snow starting to melt in some places. You may see some little buds of grass maybe coming through, peeking through. If you're living closer to the equator, if you're in the subtropics like I am, you won't see those things. But what I have seen is the sprouting of new leaves on the deciduous trees. And the sun is getting brighter. The sun is definitely getting brighter. We don't have really a strong winter appearance where I live, so we don't get that 4-season thing happening here. And if you live near the equator, you're probably more likely going to get a wet season and a dry season. So you'll know that this is still the dry season if you're nearer the equator in the southern part, or even just near the equator in general. You're just getting dry and wet either way. Imbolc, from an inner work point of view, is kind of similar to the new moon. It's where you're being inspired now to, what do I want to do for the next 6 months, till say the summer solstice, or even to Lughnasadh. And because Imbolc and Lughnasadh are opposites on the wheel, you're probably looking at, what do I want to bring into my life that I can harvest, or see anyway, some sort of a harvest or some sort of gain at Lughnasadh. So it's about inspiration. If you want to work with a deity, of course, Breed is associated with Imbolc. She's associated with inspiration. She's very much a fire deity and the light. So she's a perfect deity to work with at Imbolc to help you be inspired and to bring more light into your life. It's a time when you can do more journaling on how you can start to implement your inspiration. You don't necessarily have to start doing your spell work now or have to start implementing anything, but it's definitely a time when you may feel more inspired to think of new ideas and start to think about what you're sprouting and sprouting new things. You can certainly start doing spell work during Imbolc for new growth, because it is really the beginning of spring. Imbolc is the beginning of spring, very early spring. And that new growth. So what do you want to bring into your life now? How are you inspired? What are you inspired to do? Work with your magic with Breed to help bring that inspiration more to your consciousness. And allow it to percolate a little bit during this Imbolc season. So the Imbolc season, or any of the Sabbat seasons, will go for roughly 6 weeks. There's roughly 6 weeks between each Sabbat. So don't think of the Sabbat as just being those 2 days. It's the whole roughly 6-week period that you've got to work with the Sabbat energy. You may want to work with different deities at different Sabbats. When I do the Mystery Witch School course, when we come to the Sabbats in Module 9, we work with different deities with the different Sabbats so that you can get a sense of the energy of the deities, because some deities are really quite strong at certain Sabbat periods. And Breed is one of those deities who's very strong during the Imbolc period. So your self-nurture, how are you going to nurture yourself over the next 6 months? What are you going to do to nurture yourself, and how are you going to bring your light into the world? You may find that when you're thinking about all of the ways you can bring your light into the world, that there may be beliefs holding you back. This is part of your shadow work. This is the light shadow work. So the dark shadow work, with the things about yourself that you weren't happy with, or the things that are going on that you weren't happy with, traditionally we would spend from Samhain through to Imbolc. Now it's time to look at the light shadow. What is within you that you know you have within you? The brilliance you have within you, the light you have within you, that you're not shining or not showing because you're too afraid to shine it. That you're too afraid to show your true inner light. That's the type of shadow work to do. Looking at who you know deep down inside you are. And everybody knows deep down inside who they are. Everyone knows how powerful they are deep down inside. What's stopping us from acting on it is beliefs that we don't deserve it, we're not good enough, what will other people say, what will other people do, I don't want to be arrogant, I don't want to come across as being blah, 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 blah. So do your light shadow work at this time. When it comes to Lughnasadh, for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere who've just recently celebrated the Sabbat, this is your time of harvest. So what you started at Imbolc last year, or at the beginning of this year actually, because it would have been February for you guys, what are you harvesting now? How have you put your light out into the world? What are you seeing as a result? What have you learned about yourself as a result? And what are you reeling in? What are you bringing in? You can work with the god Lu at this time, and you can still work with Breed. Breed and Lu work very well together. It's about consolidation, Lughnasadh. It's almost like it's the beginning of, I kind of see for me the solstice to Lughnasadh as like being the full moon energy. It's really that time of the real punch comes in, particularly where I live, because we have Lughnasadh in February here where I live. It's very hot. It's like the hottest part of the year. And it's the time of year when I always find there seems to be more energy for me, right from just before the solstice right through to Lughnasadh, and then it starts to wane towards the equinox. So it's about being focused. You know, what are you focusing on? You can still put energy into things at this time of the year with Lughnasadh. What are you reaping in your life, and how has things worked for you? What's worked for you over the last 6 months? What hasn't worked? What's only partially worked? What are you seeing? How much of a result of things have you seen? And then that can give you time then to when it comes to more of the waning period, particularly between, say, Marbon and Imbolc, you know, what is it then that you can start to reflect on that you're not happy with and that you want to change? But celebrate at Lughnasadh. Celebrate your harvest. Celebrate what you've been doing, and work with Lu on celebrating. Work with Lu to bring in the extra bits of the harvest. You've got roughly 6 weeks to work with this energy. It's not all over on the 1st and 2nd of August. You've got right through to the autumn equinox to work with this energy. So make the most of this energy of Lughnasadh and harvesting, consolidation, what's worked, what's not worked, and just really enjoy that seasonal time. If you work with altar candles and you like to have a candle every day that you light, you can change your colours at each Sabbat or each Sabbat season. So you may, if you are celebrating Lughnasadh at the moment, have a yellow candle right through until the autumn equinox. If you're celebrating Imbolc, you may want to use a white candle, because white is often traditionally associated with Imbolc because it's bringing in the light. A white candle would be perfect to use as your altar candle during this time up until the spring equinox. If you've got altar cloths, if you're really going the whole decorative, and I've done that in the past. I haven't used altar cloths now for quite some time, but when I first started, I used to make altar cloths. And I had the different colours for the different seasons, and I'd have that colour for the 6 weeks. So it'd be yellow for the 6 weeks between Lughnasadh and the autumn equinox. And it would be white between Imbolc and the spring equinox. So have fun with your colours as well. Shine your light in the world, whether you're planning on how you're going to do that at Imbolc, or whether you've already been doing it and you're now looking at how you've done it at Lughnasadh. Shine your light in the world. Find ways to shine your light. Everyone has brilliance and light within them. And you can use the solar Sabbats and the solar season to help you learn more about yourself, to help you bring that light out into the world and shine that light, because it's not easy to shine your light in the world. Most of us have been conditioned to be afraid of how powerful we are, to be afraid of our brilliance. And so the Sabbats can help us be more reflective on how we're bringing that into our life, what we need to do in our life to change any beliefs that may be stifling you from shining your light in the world. That's why I talk about shadow work, the light shadow and the dark shadow. Because you need to be shining your light in the world. The world needs more light. And that's one of the things I really want from the Mystery Witch School, and one of the reasons why I've done both the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy and the Wheels of Empowerment, which is working with the shadow work and the chakra system, so that you can bring more light into your life, and then as a result of that, bring it out into the world, so that you're not just floundering around wondering what you're doing here on planet Earth. You're actually here really being able to raise the vibration and bring more joy and love into the world, and that's what we all need. So if you find you've got a lot of blocks to shining your light in the world, and you're ready to do that deeper dive into the shadow work, take a look at the Wheels of Empowerment course. Have a look at the masterclass that I spoke about at the beginning of the video, which is how to heal your shadow through balancing your energy centers. That will give you a bit of an understanding of how shadow work and the chakras work together. And at the end of that video, I'll let you know a little bit more about the Wheels of Empowerment course that actually gets you working with removing the blocks that are stopping you from shining your light in the world. So have a look at those. If you liked the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. Blessed be.